In New York City, ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are mandated in basements irrespective of the flooring type. The New York City Electrical Code necessitates GFCIs in specific basement locations. Firstly, within 6 feet of any water source, such as sinks, toilets, or showers. Secondly, all electrical outlets, including those positioned on unfinished walls or ceilings, must be GFCI protected. There are some exceptions to this rule. One exception is if the outlet is already protected by a GFCI located upstream, meaning closer to the electrical panel. This could be a GFCI receptacle or a GFCI breaker. Another exception exists for unfinished basements, specifically those not used for habitation or storage. If a basement is truly unfinished and not used as a living space or for storing items, GFCI protection may not be required. Not complying with these requirements can lead to negative consequences. Failure to install GFCIs where they are required by code can result in citations, fines, and even stop work orders issued by the Department of Buildings. Furthermore, installing GFCIs after an electrical inspection has already taken place can prove to be more expensive and time-consuming than incorporating them during the initial construction phase. It is generally a good practice to install GFCIs in all basements, irrespective of the flooring material or the level of finish. This ensures a higher level of safety and helps to meet all code requirements. A GFCI is a safety device designed to protect people from electrical shock. It works by monitoring the amount of current flowing into and out of a circuit. If there is a difference of even a few milliamperes, the GFCI will trip, cutting off the power to the circuit very quickly. This can prevent a dangerous electrical shock. GFCIs are particularly important in areas where there is water, such as basements, bathrooms, and kitchens. Water can conduct electricity, making it more likely that someone will receive an electrical shock if there is a fault in the electrical system. In a basement, there are many potential sources of water, such as leaks, condensation, and flooding. This is why GFCIs are required in basements by the electrical code. Even if the basement is finished and has a tile floor, GFCIs are still required. Tile is a good conductor of electricity, so it does not provide any protection from electrical shock. The 6-foot rule for GFCIs near water sources is based on the assumption that people are more likely to be wet when they are near water. If someone is wet, their skin resistance is lower, making them more susceptible to electrical shock. The 6-foot zone is intended to protect people who are using water fixtures or appliances. The exception for unfinished basements that are not used for habitation or storage is based on the assumption that people are less likely to be in these areas. If a basement is not used for anything, there is less risk of someone receiving an electrical shock. However, it is important to note that even if a basement is not currently being used, it may be used in the future. If there is any chance that the basement will be used for habitation or storage, it is best to install GFCIs. There are two main types of GFCIs: receptacle type and breaker type. Receptacle type GFCIs are installed in place of standard electrical outlets. They have a test button and a reset button on the front. Breaker type GFCIs are installed in the electrical panel. They provide protection for the entire circuit. To test a GFCI receptacle, press the test button. The GFCI should trip, cutting off the power to the outlet. To reset the GFCI, press the reset button. To test a GFCI breaker, press the test button. The breaker should trip, cutting off the power to the circuit. To reset the breaker, move the handle to the off position and then back to the on position. It is important to test GFCIs regularly to make sure that they are working properly. It is recommended to test GFCIs at least once a month. If a GFCI does not trip when tested, it should be replaced. GFCIs are an important safety device that can protect people from electrical shock. They are required in basements and other areas where there is water. It is important to install GFCIs properly and to test them regularly to make sure that they are working properly. When installing a GFCI, it's crucial to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Incorrect installation can render the GFCI ineffective, negating its safety benefits. Ensure the power is off at the circuit breaker before commencing any electrical work. This is a fundamental safety precaution that should never be overlooked. Verify that the wiring connections are secure and properly insulated. Loose connections or exposed wires can create hazardous conditions. If you are unsure about any aspect of the installation process, consult a qualified electrician. They possess the expertise to perform the work safely and in accordance with electrical codes. Regarding the upstream GFCI protection exception, it's vital to understand that the upstream GFCI must provide adequate protection for all downstream outlets. The upstream GFCI should be tested regularly to ensure its proper functioning. If the upstream GFCI fails to trip when tested, it must be replaced immediately. The exception for unfinished basements not used for habitation or storage should be carefully evaluated. Consider the potential for future use of the basement. Even if the basement is currently unused, there's a chance it may be utilized in the future. If so, it's prudent to install GFCIs to ensure safety. In addition to the NEC requirements, local electrical codes may have additional requirements for GFCI protection in basements. It's essential to consult with local authorities or a qualified electrician to determine the specific requirements in your area. GFCI protection is not a substitute for proper wiring and grounding. It's essential to ensure that the electrical system is properly installed and maintained to prevent electrical hazards. Regular inspections of the electrical system can identify potential problems before they become dangerous. If you notice any signs of electrical problems, such as flickering lights, sparking outlets, or burning smells, consult a qualified electrician immediately. Electrical safety is paramount, and it's always best to err on the side of caution. Taking the necessary precautions can help prevent electrical shocks and fires. In summary, GFCIs are a vital safety component in basements. They protect against electrical shock in damp environments and are essential when you are near water sources. The requirements by New York City are that they are needed in basements. Exceptions exist for uninhabitable unfinished basements and if there is already an upstream GFCI. Make sure that you follow the local and NEC codes for safety and legality.